Hey, this is Shaun with the Atlanta Tennis Podcast, powered by Go Tennis. Check out our calendar of Metro Atlanta tennis events at letsgotennis.com, where you can get deals on Technifiber equipment and lots of other great stuff. We have coming up, we have a story time. We have your ability to tell your story. And this is one of the things we want to hear is the stories from Atlanta tennis. There are probably millions of them, and all of them aren't probably good. Maybe most of them are. I don't know, but we want to hear them all. So we're going to give you the chance to tell your story. You will go to letsgotennis.com/my story, and we'll tell you all about how it works. Be entered into our monthly giveaways, and we will possibly tell your story on the Atlanta Tennis Podcast. We will pick one a month and share our favorite story from you. Today, we are talking to Justin Yeo, Australian, world-renowned tennis pro in Puerto Rico. And I just love doing that because it makes him smile. Justin Yeo, 10 minutes of tennis. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Yes.
Today,
we are in February already.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like we're not even there yet, but we are.
Yeah.
So let's see. What are we talking about today? Eyes. We're talking about eyes. We're talking about a dominant eye versus a non-dominant eye. And my eye, my left eye here is a little bit more open than my right eye because my right eye droops a little bit. My eyelid. Is that what we're talking about? So that makes my left eye the dominant one, right, Justin?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
All right, so tell me what we're talking about.
That's called having a little baby.
Oh, no.
Just to clarify that to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah. That's definitely called it sleep deprived straight away.
Having a child. All right. So
Yeah.
dominant eye versus non-dominant eye.
Okay. Look, the science is there, right? We all know that everyone has a dominant, non-dominant eye. No one's like literally 50-50. The best that we know is 55-45. So that's sort of the best that we know. Everyone always has a dominant, non-dominant eye. The percentages that get closer makes it easier for that player. One that's got a higher percentage one side than the other side, like once you start going to 60-40, then that player can commonly, if they're not using the dominant eye to the ball, they will either turn their head to get that to happen, or they're actually missing a lot of balls and not realizing that they're not using their dominant eye. So there's a lot of cool tests you can look online where they show, covering one eye, hit a ball, covering the other eye, hit another ball, and you start to understand which one's more your dominant eye. There's other ways of doing it, looking at different angles as well. So there's so many tests. The guy that actually really was the expert at it that nobody seems to talk about is Joffrey Porter. He's Spanish coach that raised Moya and Nadal when they were little. And he's one of the first. He even built sunglasses that you put on, and he will, with a remote, block the glass, and he starts to teach you how to use your dominant and non-dominant eye. So it is a real thing. Great players like Zverev. There's a lot of articles on him about how he uses I think it's his right eye the most, and that changes his technique because of that, because his head opens up to see the ball hit contact. The way for all coaches to really strengthen how to use both all the time is, I always say, keep your nose to the ball, right? You keep your nose to the ball or to the net, mostly to the net. What it does is it allows your body to turn around your head and keep both eyes and contact early. So that's one way to counteract the non-dominant and dominant eye. But you'll commonly see, once you find out which one's the dominant, it can help your player because maybe that eye is not seeing contact or not seeing the ball, or the other way around, they're turning too much of their head to get that dominant eye to see, but then it affects the technique as well because you're not turning, your head's turning. So there's some of the stuff about non-dominant, dominant eye. It is a real deal. And when you understand it more and deep dive into it more, it's another tool that can make you not only look like God, but create God-like stuff when a player's hitting the ball.
Well, imagine just being able to fix something you didn't know was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that same thing is, I don't like to, stay off topic, but perception is another one. Like, the amount of people is that I'm just slow. I'm always late, and I can't stand it. And the faster ball always gets me, and I'm just like, okay, that simple fix. Just watch my racket, and as soon as they start watching the racket over 10 minutes, their feet start operating. Their split step goes faster. The contact point becomes earlier. All these things start happening. They get to the ball and recover better, all because they're read from the racket, and nobody talks about that. It's like,
well, I wouldn't say that's even off topic, because the idea is, the topic here always is in 10 minutes of tennis is give them something, give us something.
yeah,
The player, the coach, whoever
yeah,
it is, something that makes me a little bit better. Can
yeah,
I be a little bit better today than I was yesterday? And if
yeah,
I've got that tip, it's like those quick tips that we do, or the tennis tips.
yep,
The podcast has it, Go Tennis has them. We're collecting a lot of them, and it just really gives us a chance to say, okay, can we help everybody just a little bit in
yep,
just 10 minutes in this case?
yep,
So I'm going to look at the Djokovic's of the world, whose eyes get really, makes me think of Agassi back in the day. We always just thought it was really strange that he was just eyes open and straight ahead. And my world is playing with kids, and we have what we call the zombie game. And I say, okay, well, after you hit the ball and you shuffle back around to your next spot, you have to keep your eyes forward, or the zombies are going to come and get you.
yeah.
And so it's always just making sure you got to run as fast as you can with your head, always looking forward. And I think that's what you meant by nose to the net.
Yeah, yeah, nose to the net. Sometimes I say nose to the ball only because you're preparing and you're going towards the ball. But it is amazing how many turn their whole head off the ball. And then what's really interesting is by holding. Sometimes it all depends on the player, obviously. But if you do focus on nose to the ball, you want to keep that nose on the ball as well, which a lot of players, if they're non-dominant, dominant eye, they want to try to turn off the ball as they make contact. And that's one of the things that people talk about with Zverev on his forehand, is that he tends to open up because he's trying to get his right eye to see contact. You have to understand too, depth perception is a big one, and if your left eye is your non-dominant, then again, depth perception might be harder for them as well, because the left eye is weaker than the right eye. But really, the left eye, as we know science-wise, is your depth perception.
All right. So last 2 minutes of our 10 minutes of tennis. Give me some ways I might be able to find out what my dominant eye or my non-dominant eye. I saw the thing with Zverev where they do the string with the bead, and they can actually track what you're seeing. And there's some really cool things to do. But if my coach isn't into it, is there a way I can check on myself? Can I do a little DIY dominant eye?
There are great tools. Patrick Maratoglu has different ones as well, where he has, and he says, what can you see? Where can you see? How can you see? If you look up Jeffrey Porter, not many people can spell his name properly, but he's got some really funky stuff online as well, but it's all in Spanish. But what I would say, if it was just me on the court, close one eye, hit the ball. Close another eye, hit the next ball. And just hit the ball and see which one feels more comfortable is usually a good judgment. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody hit the same ball as comfortable with one eye than the other eye. I've never seen. Now, some people will say, "Well, it felt the same." I'm like, "Yeah, because you sprayed both of them." But one hit the strings and one hit the frame, right? So it's pretty clear. So let's try that again. Let's hit the right one. The right eye, he hits the strings. Left eye, he frames it again. It's like, hello, this seems pretty easy. It's only 60-40 or 55-45. If they want to get real specific, they can go to an eye specialist. They'll do a test and easily show you what your numbers are. If the gauge is big, it can affect the player, which is someone like Zverev, who is very, very more dominant than non-dominant. His percentages are definitely higher. So
got it. So I say start with that eye patch test. Put the eye patch on one, put the eye patch on the other. Check that out.
You can do that too. The difference with eye patching is once you hit a few balls, you already start to make adjustments.
Well,
And
I'm
you
thinking just the
start to
one,
play.
like you said, close one eye, close the other. I was just
Yeah.
picturing using an eye patch, one ball, switch it over. It's
Yeah.
just easier than trying to hold one closed because
Yeah, I would just,
Yeah.
I would just hold it close.
oh, you don't like the eye patch. I was
Eye-
gonna start
eye
selling
patching
Go
is
Tennis
just
eye
another thing you got to put in your pocket as a coach, or another thing
patches.
you have to go up to the kid and help him change it, just like his little vibrasorb. You got to put that.
Yes,
in
here's your
pocket.
vibration dampener in your eye patch. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
That is
And then-
great.
Not being sexist, but if it's female, right? They've got the hair ponytail and they've got.
Oh, we need the female version with the the little pink fuzzy eye patch.
Messing up with my picture. No,
Gotta make it cute. Exactly. I love it. We got new products every day. Justin Yeo, this has been 10 Minutes of Tennis. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week.
Cheers, mate. Happy February and happy Valentine's to everybody.
Oh.